No, Berea was punting the football.
Okay, Berea was punting the football. No, Midpark was punting the football. It's 1st and 10 now at the 30-yard line.
Dan Britton off the right tackle again. He crosses the 25 down to the 24. I think we've both lost track after all of the extracurricular activities.
And there's another flag down on the field, Matt.
Ray Radick has learned from the officials that Rich Cook is going to be asked to leave the football game. And Rich will get the rest of the night off as another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty is assessed against the Meteors. And things are really coming apart at the seams because Midpark coming into this game realized they had a lot at stake. They had a shot to win the conference championship, a shot to go into the Division I postseason playoffs, and I think now they realize that that is all slipping away.
And this could be a very long 7 minutes and 19 seconds here in this fourth quarter.
James on the option, keeps it himself. Spins away and gets down to the 10-yard line. He picks up 3 yards. And it'll be 2nd down and call it 7.
Tell you what I was doing when all this happened. I was trying to figure out where they returned the punt to, and I lost track of that because of all the...
I'm still trying to figure out how Berea got the football back unless there was a fumble, because they did punt the football.
No, Midpark punted the football, didn't they? Because that's what head coach Ray Radick was talking about. He wanted a roughing the punter penalty.
I think that was my mistake, because I think it was the Berea punter that got roughed because they kicked it down to the end zone to our left.
Oh, you know what the best thing to do is? Even though we're taping this, we're going to watch this whenever it's on again and take notes.
And we're both going to look like fools at this point. 6 minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the football game. And Berea leads it 20-0, and they're heading towards the end zone once again. 3rd down and 3. And again, it's Dan Britton who is knocked down at the 5-yard line. You asked me a moment ago, before all of the fisticuffs broke out, where Dan Britton may rank among the Pioneer Conference scoring leaders with 2 touchdowns tonight. Depending on what Brian Nicholas does with the North Royalton football team, Britton would move into 3rd place on the season in the scoring race.
How many touchdowns does Bedell have coming into this game?
Bedell had 11 coming in.
Well, that's overall. What about in the conference?
They don't keep him that way.
And here's the pitch to Johnson. Okay, Bedell with 11 touchdowns in the conference. He has 84 points overall on the season, counting the non-conference games. So his 11 touchdowns are the top mark in the Pioneer Conference, and he ranks with the 84 points, the overall touchdowns, among the leaders in all of the area ball carriers.
Well, following the 4th down play, Midpark now gets the football on downs inside their own 5-yard line. So I suppose appropriately enough, the day after Halloween, we've had a wild one here tonight at Finney Stadium. Gardner to throw on 1st down. Flags are down. There, I believe, was an interception.
And it was made by number 82 for Berea, and that is Mark Gerald. But a penalty flag comes in after the interception was made.
Pass interference is going to be the call against Berea, so that will enable Midpark to maintain possession and get a 1st down. They mark off the penalty yardage. It'll go out to the 20-yard line, and Midpark will have a 1st down.
I didn't see the interference, and the flag came in late, but it is called, and head coach, I'm sure Ray Radick and Midpark are saying, hey, where was that flag in the 1st half or something? You know, right now it really doesn't help us.
5 minutes left to go in the game. And Midpark trails at 20-0 as Dave Gardner brings them to the line of scrimmage. Throwing down the middle, had a man and he couldn't hold it. Ernie Bielik was the intended receiver. He could not haul it in, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
I think one thing Berea's thinking of now, they have this game pretty much in hand, but they've got to be wondering what happened down the road at Strongsville High tonight. Could the Mustangs upset the Brunswick Blue Devils? And if so, then it would be a 3-way tie for the conference title, and Midpark, Brunswick, and Berea would share the title. If Brunswick wins tonight, hey, they're the outright champions. You got to figure they deserve it. They beat both Berea and Midpark this year, so if Brunswick can knock off Strongsville, then they win it, and they probably go on to the playoffs.
Gardner's pass intended for Corton is well over his head, incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 10. And for Berea, you've got to figure that with the upset of Midpark, they will garner a ton of computer points. And although they came into this game ranked 7th in Division I, Region 1, that may have been enough points based on the teams that they beat prior this season, and there were 7 of them. If those teams all win, that could just catapult them all the way into the top 4, which would put them in the postseason chase. Gardner being chased out of the pocket. And he finally tucks it up and runs out of bounds at the 22, well short of the 1st down. And on 4th down and 10, you got to wonder here if he'll just punt it away.
Take your lumps and get into the locker room. Matt, I'm looking at the computer rankings here for Berea. As you mentioned, they're 7th coming into tonight's ball game. Lakewood plays Shaw tonight. Both of those teams are 4-1 in the Lake Erie League. So if Shaw can beat Lakewood and Berea beats Midpark here, the only other team that's ahead of Berea would be Warren Harding. And Berea would, obviously hope that maybe Warren Harding would lose. There's a nice punt there by Corton.
Or hope that Warren Harding is not playing a team that's 7-2 or has a great record where that they would get a lot of points from beating a team.
I'll ask you, do you know what conference Warren Harding is in?
I'm not sure if they're in the Steel Valley Conference in Youngstown or not. They may be an independent.
Warren Harding plays Niles McKinley Saturday afternoon. And that's an independent, independent game. So Berea will be watching that one closely, I'm sure, or trying to find out what happens there. And here's a give on that counter play again that's worked well for Berea. And let me see who gets up off the bottom of the pile. That was Cook, I believe. Or no, excuse me, Good, the ball carrier there for Berea. Clock shows 3:50 and counting here. And a lot of the Midpark fans starting to head towards the exit to beat the traffic jam here at Finney Stadium. And here's a give to Britton as he's driven out of bounds. No gain on the play. And now Berea's gonna get whistled, Matt, for a personal foul that happened after the play was already over. And it wasn't a big push or a big shove or a shot to the face or anything. It was just a little push, but it happened after the play, and the official was standing right there.
It was a little egg in the face, a little rubbing it in, if you will.
Taunting, whatever. And this will back the Braves up. And I think both coaches right now would hope that this one just winds down and they can head into the locker room to avoid any further confrontations.
Kenny, I'm not overly familiar with the history of the Berea-Midpark rivalry, but I would have to imagine that there have been few blowouts. If you can term this a blowout, it's been very one-sided, to say the least.
Yeah, well, we've mentioned just by the series record, 14-14. Both teams with the equal amount of wins, so you know that it's always a great ball game and a well-played ball game. But on this night, the Berea Braves, the better team, and they started off, you have to remember, Berea started ooff losing their first 2 conference games, man. They were 2 games in the hole, 2 games into the conference play, and they've won 5 straight. They'll go to 5-2 in the conference, 8-2 overall. And like I said, depending on the outcome of the Brunswick game and that Warren Harding and Lakewood game, you know, after a slow start in the conference, they could very easily end up in the playoffs. And I'm sure that's what head coach Tom Madsey told them after they lost 2 games. Say, hey, fellas, there's a long way to go in this season, so don't panic yet.
Great punt, way over the head of the Midpark return people, and it goes out of bounds. Tim Kostranik was back there trying to flag it down, but
speaking of flags, more laundry at the 40-yard line after that 58-yard punt.
And another player has been ejected from the game. And this appears to be for Midpark number 36, Chris Papara, who was asked to leave the sidelines, or excuse me, asked to leave the playing field. And again, this is just total frustration on the part of the Meteor football team, a team that really had their hopes high coming into tonight, but has seen it come apart at the seams. And I'm sure Coach Ray Radick of the Midpark Meteors is just telling his guys, look, fellas, we took one on the chin tonight, but let's play these last couple of minutes with some pride and just go out there and
I don't think the PA announcer had to share that with everybody, but
I don't think anyone figured coming into this game that if you picked Berea, if you were one of the people that said, yeah, I think Berea's going to win, I don't think you would have imagined it would be such a decisive victory where really the Meteors had no shot at winning this football game.
Well, to take nothing away from Dave Gardner, I mean, he's had experience throughout the year, you know, playing, excuse me, but when you lose your 2 top offensive threats to the same type of injury, we're talking about Brett Collins and Steve Alescu, that's going to hurt you. You may get by against weaker teams, but when you play a team such as Berea in a heated rivalry game, it's hard to overcome those injuries with the players filling those spots. Now, don't get me wrong, Gardner is going to be a good quarterback. He's got 2 more years to go, and Bielik has filled in admirably all season long, but you're talking about taking away their top 2 weapons against probably one of, if not the best defense in the conference.
Yeah, it's really a credit that they were able to go 7-2 coming into this football game and really be in the driver's seat to win a conference championship.
And Matt, you wonder, their 3 losses this year will have come to Solon, who is a playoff contender, Brunswick, who is a playoff contender, and Berea, who is still a playoff contender. So I know if you're head coach Ray Radick, you're thinking, well, I wonder what would have happened if I had everybody healthy. Because each of those games, you were in the ball game for most of it and could have won. The Brunswick game we did, they lost in overtime. Against Solon, they lost 7-0. That's the first game after Alescu went down the first time. And this game, when they failed to get in right near the end of the half, and then Berea comes out and punches one in the 3rd quarter, it was lights out right there.
Yeah, when I look back on this football game, as Berea just tries to run out the clock here on their what could be their final possession of the ball game, I think of 3 big plays. Number 1, I think of the interception return by Micah Potts down to the 1-yard line that set up Berea's first touchdown. As we now watch Derek Johnson carry the football close to another Berea first down. The second big play I think of was the fake field goal, or at least the field goal attempt that went awry, where they came away with no points regardless of whether it was a fake or a bad snap. And then the third big play I think of is the Todd James, the quarterback scramble, in which it looked like Midpark had him sacked for a loss. He spun away, ended up going 32 yards and in for a touchdown, and that really took the wind out of the sails of this Meteor ball club.
That's in the 3rd quarter, man. You're only down 7-0 at that point when James portrays Harry Houdini, and that, like I said, pretty much turned the lights out in this ball game. Also, let's go back to the first